I woke up this morning to find some pretty glorious news about one of my favorite game series of all time. Warhammer Vermintide 2 is getting an expansion this summer. An expansion called Winds of Magic, and as that thick, juicy piece of steak on screen can attest to, it's bringing with it a new set of enemies. The Cloven Ones, the true children of chaos, the Beastmen. A third race has been speculated about since Vermintide 2 was first announced. We had the Paxworn on launch day, the Rotbloods of Nurgle, and the Skaven of Clan Fester, but demons and beastmen have always kind of been on the outside looking in. Not anymore. Our dreams are no longer memes. They will be reality come sometime this summer. There's no official release date quite yet that I'm aware of, but there's a lot of information to cover, and even more coming on March 7th when PC Gamer launches in the UK, because that's when the full unveiling will occur. So, let's get into it. Winds of Magic takes place right after a meteor comes crashing down in the Reichland. The Beastmen emerge from the depths of the Reichwald forest and rush to the epicenter to claim it as a hearthstone. And as always, it'll be up to our 5 heroes to stop them before disaster strikes the Empire. Now, it's the end times, so it doesn't really get more disastrous than that, but adding the Beastmen to the fold isn't going to make things any easier. So what can we expect with Winds of Magic? Tons of new enemy types, a difficulty level even harder than Legend, new talents, new weapon types for every character, and a really cool system of modifiers to existing maps that Fat Shark hopes is going to increase replay value dramatically moving forward. Only a handful of these new enemies have been confirmed so far, but what we have are the Elite Bestigor, a Beastman Standard Bearer, and packs of Ungor wielding bows. Bestigors are the Beastmen equivalent of a Chaos Warrior. Taller than a man and quite a bit more deadly, they are heavily armored and will function kind of like a line breaker, homing in on one target and charging them, knocking over anyone or anything that stands in their way. The Standard Bearer is a support special, placing totems on the map that buff nearby enemies and modify their behavior, sometimes granting invulnerability, maybe granting poison DOTs to their weapons, maybe summoning additional hordes and elite enemies. And this is a direct translation of Standard Bearers from the tabletop game, and seems like a really elegant addition and a super nice nod to the lore and source material of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, something I would love to see in the Total War Warhammer series as well. An Ungor pack are also a very interesting addition. These are kind of the slave rat equivalents of the Beastmen armies. They have pathetic combat skill and very poor morale, but they will be the first run-of-the-mill range unit introduced in the Vermintide series ever. Enemy bows will definitely bring a new dynamic to the battlefield of Vermintide 2, and more importantly, it opens the door for more range units later down the line, stuff like Warblack Jezzails for the Skaven, or Death's Head Plague Bearers lobbing grenades like Globadiers. In terms of enemy types, that's all we have for now, but if they follow the same pattern as the Skaven and Rotbloods, there's guaranteed to be quite a lot more. Goreherd for mainline infantry, Bray Shamans, Minotaurs, Doombulls, and Nurgle Willing, maybe even a Gorgon, are all possibilities. Raise your hands with me right now, lend me your energy, and pray to the Chaos Gods that Fat Shark may deliver unto us the beautiful, the legendary, the magnificent Gorgon. Memes aside, realistically probably not going to happen, but I'd say some form of Minotaur is incredibly likely, considering the cover art of the DLC. They would fit in perfectly as a boss form similar to a Bile Troll, Rat Ogre, or Chaos Spawn, the bosses we already have in the game. And I've been dreaming about fighting one of those bad boys in Vermintide for a long time, so that has me incredibly hype. But the Beastmen aren't the only new toy coming this summer. Kind of disappointingly, Fat Shark won't be introducing any new adventure maps outside of a tutorial level to introduce some new mechanics, but what they are bringing to the table might forge a foundation for a ton more replayability moving into the future, and more playable content than a typical DLC would offer. The weave is stirring, and the winds of magic blow strong from the poles of the planet. As we know, there are 8 winds of magic: light, fire, death, heavens, metal, life, shadow, and beasts, and each wind will serve as a modifier for the levels we already have. The weave itself, the force that binds all living organisms in the Warhammer world, will be the glue that ties this whole picture together. So a weave consists of a map, a wind of magic, a new objective, and a finale. Maps are getting completely remixed in this new game mode, adding twists and turns that we haven't seen before. For example, Righteous Stand might be played from back to front now, or the orders of the map's assets might change around dramatically, and they will all look and play completely different based on which wind is active, changing up the lighting, adding particle effects, and obstacles on the map. For example, when the Wind of Shimon is active, gold and metal, will literally be incorporated into the map itself as veins of gold trace their way through your path and ore burst from the ground beneath your feet. Each win will bring its own set of modifiers affecting gameplay as well. So the Lore of Life gives players health regen, but you'll also take damage anytime you attack an enemy. Sounds kind of weird on paper, might get changed around for that specific example, but between now and summer I imagine there are going to be a lot of changes, but these modifiers could obviously have a huge effect on replayability and how you play your game, and add a ton of new challenges and difficulty to a game that is already pretty challenging. I mean, Legend is no walk in the park for the vast majority of players. New objectives are also coming as well. Requirements like killing a certain number of specific enemies before you can advance, or defending control points from non-stop enemy hordes. And of course, each win will also bring its own finale, that once your objectives have been completed, will open a portal through the warp to an arena where you must survive a final showdown. It would be a perfect time to introduce some new boss types, waves of increasingly difficult enemies, multiple boss mons at once, and ungodly amounts of specials all descending upon you at once, and will likely make it very difficult to complete your mission. So if you want to win, you're going to have to get through that final arena. Now, one of the things that has me most excited is that Fatshark plans to escalate the challenge far, far beyond what is currently available. The base set of weaves will all be handcrafted, but the plan is for them to repeat at exponentially higher difficulties, which may not appeal to everyone, but as someone who's done pretty much everything Vermintide has to offer and taken each and every new difficulty and mod in stride, it will be really nice to again have an official game mode be a true challenge. And this should be a huge deal for the longevity of this series going forward, especially for veterans of the series. So it sounds like Fatshark are really working on endgame content here and trying to solve that replayability factor, giving people a lot more stuff to do with the assets that are already in the game. And with the possible implementation of leaderboards and a framework that will be able to be expanded upon and built upon well into the future, it looks like they might very well succeed. Because whatever comes this summer isn't going to be the end of it. Modifiers are, by their very definition, modular, and with this system, they can keep giving us bursts of new content while we wait for new maps and new weapons and some of the stuff that takes longer to implement, like a whole new race, like the Beastmen. So I think it's going to be a really good thing for the game. But on top of all of that, we're also going to be getting a new category of weapon types for each character. Throwing axes for Barden have already been confirmed, but Saltspire, Foiganasis, Kruber, and Carillion will also be getting new toys to play with as well. No idea what those will be quite yet, but flaming whips for the Bright Wizard, grenade launchers, or a pike for Kruber, that kind of stuff are definitely going to be very near the top of my list. I mean, Warhammer World just has an obscene amount of lore to draw from, and so many weapon types are still left untouched. I think there's a lot that hasn't been explored yet that could really benefit gameplay and give us some interesting ways to cut through the tides of chaos. And ways to kill your enemies are some of the best ways to market the game and some of the best ways to have fun with a game like Vermintide. I do think it's kind of a missed opportunity to not be dropping one or two new maps in the deep, dark Drakwold Forest or some of the places the Beastmen inhabit in the Reichwald, because as a setting for a Vermintide run, set in a gnarled, twisted Heart of Darkness forest, as you venture deeper into the woods in search of a Hearthstone to destroy, that would be an incredibly epic and immersive way to get kind of stuck in the Vermintide experience. And Athel Loren is another location that would make a ton of sense for our heroes to travel to that I would love to see brought to life one day. And I think that's a much more realistic and logical approach than having something like travel to Lustria to fight in Elizurman Temple City. Although there's absolutely no question in my mind that is something Fatshark should do at some point. I don't know if it would be with our OG heroes or a brand new band of, say, Saurus and Skink characters. Either way, that's something I'd love to see them tackle, but I think Athel Loren and the Drakwold, anywhere the Beastmen inhabit the Warhammer world, would be very logical and be an amazing setting for a Vermintide map, and a great way to introduce the Beastmen as well. And just considering the importance of maps, it does feel a little bit strange to be launching an amazing race like the Beastmen and then not giving them a map that kind of lets them shine to their fullest potential. More than anything, I'm incredibly excited to see another official Warhammer Fantasy Battle race join the party, and what this could mean for the future. If Fatshark can tackle this, they can tackle the Demons of Chaos and a whole lot more. And they've said explicitly they want to be supporting Vermintide 2 well into the future. So I think we have a lot to look forward to for this series going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the new Winds of Magic expansion, and I'm going to have a lot more news to cover on that front in the next couple weeks as more details are revealed. I believe that on March 7th, they will be doing an even more full unveiling, so I will be right there. I will be there every step of the way. Let me know what you'd like to see from Fat Shark come the summer of 2019, what enemies, what mechanics, what modifiers you would like to see, what you think would benefit the game, what weapons as well, and I will see you all in the next video. Indie Pride, signing out for now. Have a good one, guys.